Oh, all right, hold on. All right, what's going on, guys? It's Chef. So yesterday we ended up getting some new gameplay from Infinity Ward themselves. They ended up posting on their Twitter and their TikTok. But we only got this really annoying vertical video situation, but I talked about this slightly in yesterday's video for my Fall Guys thing. But I mean, come on. They put Sonic in Fall Guys. Fortnite's putting Dragon Ball. Watching Goku one-pump people is just, come on. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. I love it. I did mention it a little bit, but I was mostly just like playing the game or whatever. I'm gonna actually watch the gameplay right here and go over some of the shit that I saw. Because some people were asking me because we saw a lot more here than we ended up seeing even from just like that campaign stuff. This is the first multiplayer gameplay that they have shown us.
How we designed a new map for Modern Warfare 2.
My name is Jeffrey Smith. I'm a director of multiplayer design. Farm 18 came out of the idea of we kind of like the shoot house facility map, so we decided to think of hidden training facilities. But
okay. So, first of all, in this first part right here, this little portion right here actually kind of reminds me of the one alleyway that's in the one map back on Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2. It kind of reminds me of Storm. It's this map right here. It was really, it's a mixy map. People don't really talk about this map very much, for good reason, honestly. There's a part on the right side of this picture where there's actually like an alleyway, and there's actually a car there as well, and there's like a gas station and shit. It kind of reminds me of that. So everything looks just like, you know, typical Modern Warfare crispiness. It kind of looks like a little bit on the outside of Vacant. Even this over here actually kind of reminds me of like Dome, especially like the way that these bags look and shit. They have these in so many different Modern Warfares. I don't know why, but it's super recognizable, like a reused asset that they have used for years, and it's just not going anywhere. This right here, it's kind of like Grozna Raid, and the one thing that I've noticed just from looking through all of this shit right here, obviously just got a car right here, but no real doorways. It's mostly just windows, and anything that's a door is just kind of an obvious door. I mean, maybe there could be a door there, but they're mostly just entrances, not actual functioning doors. Now, I'm pretty sure that the doors are going to be in the game, but right here, even on this building right here, look at the amount of doorways that there could be, and it's just all completely blocked off. You can see it looks like a doorway over in the corner right there. Maybe the doorway right here can open and close, but generally, it feels like there's more windows than doorways at this point, which is a lot better in my opinion, but I don't think doors are necessarily going anywhere, just maybe toned down a little bit.
So we decided to think of hidden training facilities, but it's also in an industrial cement factory. And the idea was, what if we put a shoot house type situation in the middle? If you really want to play that crazy game,
I really like how they're giving us this.
That action will find you. If you want to pull
fuck.
back.
Okay, we got actually. So right here, they're obviously talking about the design and layout of a map and stuff. So the way that this whole map looks, he said himself, it's kind of a shoot house thing in the middle where it's probably a very even, pretty identical on the inside on one side versus the other side. The same way how the original shoot house in Modern Warfare 2019 has the two head glitch spots that look directly down middle. There is technically a stronger side, but you know, they're generally matching. The same thing with like Kill House on COD 4, for example. I always like these kinds of maps because they're very simple, very straightforward, and they don't need to feel like they have the need to make sense. They're supposed to feel like a course, an actual deliberately designed thing that makes it feel like it's even, at least more even than an actual like natural environment feels, because they did a whole lot of things with natural environments over on Modern Warfare 2019, and it resulted in a lot of positions feeling incredibly strong in comparison to a certain spawn or one side of the map or a certain flag that your team's stuck on. That's the case for every game, but in Modern Warfare 2019, it was times 10. Not to mention the way that they did with the radar and everything like that when the initial game launched. They didn't have the radar in the top left. They wanted you to use like more sound and stuff. It was just a big change.
In the middle, if you really want to play that crazy game, you can go to the center and that action will find you.
So we got gameplay right there of the M4 just firing. It looks super good. What a lot of people are saying is that the visual recoil right there, some people might think that this is actually extreme in comparison to what we're used to seeing. And maybe if you played like a lot of Warzone, sure, when everybody's got their whole thing kitted out. But clearly just looking at this thing, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same M4. They didn't even put any attachments on it. I'm going to assume it has absolutely no attachments whatsoever on it. We don't see any giant magazine. It looks like a base version of a weapon with no sight on it, nothing. We obviously don't know if there's anything on it, but we'd assume if they're trying to show as little as possible about the gunsmith at the moment, they probably don't have anything on it. We have to assume that there's nothing on there, on top of the fact that we clearly see that the guy does not have a foregrip on this thing, unless it's like some weird commando thing, the way that he's holding it, but that's not the usual way. Obviously, the animations do look like they're reused from Modern Warfare 2019, but they're probably just gonna have like a little bit bit more, little bit of a tweak to them. Some of them might be even identical and shit. So on top of the recoil being like that, they obviously also have motion blur on, so that makes it look way, way worse. On top of that, they're probably like on 80 FOV with like, you know, independent on. I don't think the visual recoil looks that much bigger than what people are saying. Some people are saying like, oh my god, I'm so happy recoil is bad. I would pump the brakes, to be honest with you. There's gonna be a million ways, especially with people like J-God that exist. But with all the other stat dudes out there, they're obviously gonna find ways to make it a complete laser beam, all the way down to the length of the barrel and shit. So I wouldn't be too concerned about how the recoil is gonna be. I'm gonna assume it's probably identical, let's be honest. The last time we ever actually had any real recoil on a Call of Duty that was actually difficult was Black Ops 1. Once we've gotten to the gunsmith at this point, it's gotten much, much easier to control everything, so.
Go to the center and that action will find you. If you want to pull back and play a different way.
It looks really good though. Like outside looks nice and colorful.
So when the design has approved the layout of the map and we're happy with it, and we come in and we transform those blockhouses into full-fledged environments for the players to immerse themselves in.
Right. It felt like you really couldn't go anywhere without getting shot over on Modern Warfare 2019. Again, I think a lot of people did adjust. A lot of people were made, you know, very aware of it, but it was really, really jarring in comparison to the way that we're usually used to dying.
The other problem was balancing the foliage. If we go too dense with the foliage, we have people hide in the corners. If we don't go dense enough, we don't sell the narrative of the overgrowth. So it's all a perfect balance between all departments trying to find the perfect harmony to make sure that we've got a beautiful.
That's what I was gonna say. It felt like Modern Warfare 2019 for a lot of the launch maps anyway. A lot of the maps after launch were much, much better. Like Candor Hideout is a great, great example where they're going more 3-lane and they themselves have already shown a map right there in the middle where they're talking about a shoot house style thing in the middle with like an outside spot. That already is much better than the typical design of something like Grozny Raid, for example, or Piccadilly, where it just felt like no matter where you go, yes, everything looks realistic and believable where you are and where you're looking at it, and you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Somebody crashed right there and a vehicle would be sitting there. But does it actually make sense for this window to also be able to hold this angle that's able to see across the map from a position where the other team has a very, very hard time firing back at you? Like real life, yes, that's very realistic, but it's not fun to play. It's not a balanced experience. Along with the thing where he's talking about, you know, the foliage, you don't want to have too much foliage and all these players are just going to go and hide in all these corners and shit. And also at the same time, you don't want it to be like, well, why is there absolutely nothing there? It's just literally a corner. That doesn't even look like something that, why would somebody even build it this way? It just doesn't make sense. So it's a really, really hard thing to do. Trust me, I am not the greatest map designer in the world. If I sit here and I talk all this shit, but I am saying it from a perspective of an actual player and what maps in my mind seem to always flow better than, you know, other maps in comparison. That's about as much design knowledge as I typically have. I know what does and does not work for the way that Call of Duty players tend to play the game. Whether that's through casual play, pro play, pub stomping way, gameplay, sniper, montage making. So on top of all those like crazy angles and shit that they ended up having, you know, in a lot of the original maps that they had, where it felt like it was basically impossible to even move because you just did not know where you're gonna get shot from, on top of getting killed in like milliseconds, or also the very, very dark corners. Yes, the environments look great, but like this guy was saying, it looks so good that you could actually blend into it. A lot like real life, but that's not fun now, is it? Everybody remembers over on Warzone as well how dark everything was. Even if you weren't using the road, if you were just a basic player, you could sit down and crouch and just kind of chill in the darkness in these games. It was crazy. This shit was a horror game, so we really don't want that back.
The perfect harmony to make sure that we've got a beautiful, realistic looking space, whilst also being fun for the players to enjoy.
This just really, really reminds me of stuff like Vacant. Pre-order now, yeah, blah, 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 you know. Yeah, I just, for some reason, I feel like I already know what game I'm gonna get with Modern Warfare 2. I don't know why. I know obviously it's extremely, you know, anticipated. Everybody's laying low right now, but everybody really, really wants Modern Warfare 2 to be good, especially considering they're gonna have to be playing the game for, you know, 2 years. Assuming they don't just straight up quit and just move on to something else, but to what else? That's the other question. If it does flop, or if Warzone 2 even by itself just flops, what do we do? It would be great to actually get a more aggressive version of Modern Warfare 2019 with a little bit learned. I'm really, really hoping that the idea of it anyway, a lot of people think that a sequel means that they will build directly off of the last one and then we'll just get a better, improved version of that one. But that's not always the case when you look at Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 2. I don't really think those games are very similar at all. And then Black Ops 2 to Black Ops 3. Similarity? Not really. Yeah, they're, you know, by the same people, but they're very, very different games. They tend to change a lot between them. But this is the one where it genuinely feels like it's actually a sequel. I think original Modern Warfare 2 into Modern Warfare 3 was kind of like that. Although, ultimately, Modern Warfare 2 did feel like somehow still the smoother version of the Modern Warfare series over Modern Warfare 3. Modern Warfare 3 was its sequel, but somehow Modern Warfare 2 still felt smoother. That'd be the magical thing. If multiplayer was just a thing that everybody could just play, all the content isn't just being pumped out through exclusively Warzone. People actually want to see a lot more multiplayer shit. I think the gunplay is gonna, just by the looks of it anyway, I really do think that this is just gonna be, in my mind, I know I am one of the biggest shit talkers of Modern Warfare 2019, but looking at Modern Warfare 2019, it is obviously the best looking one, it's the best feeling one, and the one that people like and enjoy looking at the most. It's the most recognizable, the animations, everything, even the guns make the most sense. You got those meme videos of like nightmare weapons in Vanguard or whatever. With Modern Warfare, you got full-blown appreciation videos. People love this shit. They can take that aesthetic and actually make it a fun, engaging multiplayer. Oh, I actually, just from looking at it, really do have my hopes up. But yeah, I mean, that's just the gameplay and shit. Obviously, I mean, I would just play Warzone or Modern Warfare 2019 in place of IW4X, but my game still doesn't work. Hopefully, Modern Warfare 2 doesn't have, you know, kind of issues that Modern Warfare 2019 is giving me at the moment. I literally can't even play that game. We're also supposed to be getting a lot more information and gameplay and stuff from them, apparently, from like for other maps and stuff, so I look forward to it.